Hey everybody, this is Christopher Small with CMS Law Firm, here to talk to you today again about some estate planning stuff, well, not probate stuff today, but sometimes probate stuff. But right now, some estate planning stuff, and we're here to talk about asset protection again. The reason why we're here talking about it again is because I just had another meeting on it today. I had one on Friday, I think, or Thursday, and I'm having one again today. And so I thought it would be a good time to talk about the second way that you can protect your assets after you go and talk to your insurance agent about the amount of coverage you need via umbrella policy, okay? And by the way, I'm giving you the short and sweet version right now because I want to be able to just show you more stuff. If you want to see like an in-depth talk on this and in-depth talk on other fun, cool stuff, I'm going to start doing it every week, and I'm going to let everybody know about it. And if you want to be on that list to be notified when I'm doing these and what the topic is, go to cmslawfirm.com/newsletter. The link is right there. As always, if this content though hits you in the mouth and you want to talk about it right away, you can go to estatemeeting.com and set up a time. All right. So we talked about umbrella policies and sort of just getting the max coverage that you need, so you can just pay anybody off if you go do something crazy. But there's a second device that is specifically foolproof at keeping your assets safe. The umbrella policy doesn't necessarily do that. The idea with the umbrella policy is just to have so much cash on hand that they don't actually want to go and attack your stuff. You know, your own bank accounts, your real estate, your business, whatever it is that you own, to try to come and get it. And this solution, and the reason I always have people explore this solution second, is it's more complicated. It's much, much more complex than getting some extra insurance. It involves, if you live in Washington State, it involves creating an out-of-state trust, potentially an out-of-state LLC, and doing some other sort of interesting, fun estate planning type of stuff. The vehicle that I'm talking about right now is called the Domestic Asset Protection Trust. It is a vehicle that was designed specifically to do what we're here talking about today, to protect one's assets. The other cool thing that it does, though, is it gives the creator of the trust, the trustor, it gives that person the ability to receive some income and assets from that trust. The downside of this kind of a trust is that you have to essentially give up all control over your assets that go into that trust. All right, and the transfer is deemed as a gift. There's a bunch of other interesting taxi kind of stuff and lawyery kind of stuff that I'm going to go to more in depth, you know, in the big one, and that I can talk to you about more in depth if we're in person. But I don't want to get your lines crossed. So just know that it's more complex, but it will actually give you the specific type of asset protection that a lot of people think of when they think of asset protection, and that is, if something happens to me, they can't even touch this stuff over here. That's what a domestic asset protection trust can give you. There's a third way that you can do this that maybe we'll talk about the next time, but I'm gonna have to send you to somebody else to do that one because it's complex. But I wanted to talk about one other thing here today that came up in this meeting today. It came up in the meeting last week about asset protection. And I think it's always really important to understand that the worst case scenario that's going on in your mind, as far as things that could happen and in ways that people could come after you, is often not the actual worst case scenario that could happen in real life. The reason is because for the type of event to happen where someone would be able to max out your umbrella policy, max out whatever other insurance policy you had on that specific thing, and then come over after all of your assets, the event that would have to happen for that to occur would have to be catastrophic, and you would have to be at fault, okay? And so what we're talking about is sort of that 99.9% event, or that, said another way, that 0.1 or that 0.01% event actually occurring and wiping you out. And so there's sort of a balancing act that needs to be done between the protection that you want to feel safe, and then the protection that you actually need to actually be safe. And so that's why it's really important to go talk to an insurance agent about umbrella policy and get their have them do some sort of risk analysis on you, look at your assets, and then tell you, like, look, this much coverage should work. That's the other thing that I mentioned to this gentleman this afternoon, was that if you go talk to an insurance agent, like they're all numbers. It's all math for them. So they should have some way to plug you in and tell you like this is a good number for you. And the reason that they know that is because of the millions of other people that they've insured, this number has worked out 99.9% of the time. So you're gonna have that kind of coverage. I also did tell this guy, and I'll tell you too, if you're like Charlie Sheen, if you're expecting to like get into some trouble, if you live a wild life or you're in a business that has a high degree of liability, I think we can all think of what types of businesses those would be. Gambling would probably be one. There, basically, if you're involved in a vice, then you probably want to actually think strongly about getting a domestic asset protection trust, because it's the kind of a thing that can actually protect you. This is what Charlie Sheen has, okay, and has had to use. So, like I said, there's a sort of a balancing act that you want to make sure that you're hitting when deciding whether or not to actually go through with this, because there's the time and the expense to put it together, and there's also the loss of control that you're going to experience by creating this kind of trust and then funding it. So those two things need to weigh against the reality of something actually happening to you as you decide whether or not to do this. So that's it. Again, if you want to learn more about this, I'm going to be doing a Facebook Live every week, same time, same place, with different subjects. And if you want to get notification about what the subject is and what it is and maybe some of the fun stuff, go to cmslawfirm.com/newsletter. If you want to talk to me specifically right now, estatemeeting.com. We'll get you there. All right, I'm Christopher Small with CMS Law Firm. Thank you so much for being here. As always, I really appreciate your time. If you like this video, hit the like button. If you have a comment, leave it. If you know someone that needs to hear this, share it with them. And I will probably be here again to talk to you tomorrow. Bye.